Today on Profs Huddle, there are a lot of things to talk about, but first things first, sports are finally back.
And now, let's get ready to huddle.
Header towards the net, it's in! Leary throws it down.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Profs Huddle. I'm Jason Joseph.
And I'm Gerlicka, and like you just mentioned, Jason, sports are finally back on the campus of Rowan University.
That's right, Gary. The women's lacrosse team actually played their first game last week, and we will be sure to talk more about that later on in the show. But softball, baseball, men's and women's track and field also will get back to action soon. Yesterday, I had the chance to talk to Rowan University Athletic Director Dr. John Giannini. He talked about his thoughts and feelings on the return of sports and had some interesting things to say.
It's a great sense of excitement and satisfaction, but you probably know this, Jason, but I do this Division I broadcasting, so I've seen sports during COVID, and the kids would rather play than not play, but it's really not normal. Our baseball team already has the first couple weeks of their season canceled because of COVID-related reasons. Softball just had a game canceled. Lacrosse just had a game canceled, and this is normal. You see this in college basketball. I know of at least 2 conference tournaments that had teams advance by forfeit because of COVID-related reasons. And you look at local college basketball, Villanova, St. Joe's, Temple have all had multiple shutdowns. So the kids can't have a normal social life. They're constantly tested. They constantly have anxiety over their test. They don't know whether or not they're going to be shut down or if the games are going to happen. So it's great that we're trying. It's important that we're trying, but it's very difficult to have sports during COVID.
I have to say, it's always an honor to speak with Dr. Giannini. Always provides a ton of insight, and now let's get right into the action.
It took 357 days. It's 11 months and 23 days for Rowan sports to return to play. But who's keeping track, am I right? Earlier this week, I spoke to Rowan University women's lacrosse head coach Lindsay Delaney to talk about the return to play and what the team is looking forward to in their return to action.
Girls have to make social sacrifices and personal sacrifices and opt in to what could be a roller coaster of a season where we're going to have some shutdowns and some startups and some shutdowns and some startups. And I think they did that, and they've acknowledged it. And basically, they want to be together. They want to play lacrosse. Doesn't matter if we get 5 games or 12 games. It just matters that we're back out playing and doing the thing that they love to do, because this is what they've worked for. So they've worked so hard. We never shut down. We shut down in terms of competition. We shut down in terms of contact, but the girls continue to work. You know, they never put their sticks down. They just did whatever they could in the safety of their own homes when we all got sent home.
Talking to Coach Delaney, we discussed the difficulty of their upcoming schedule, and the Profs have already played one top 10 school in the country in Salisbury. Coming up, they still have to face another top 10 school in Franklin and Marshall. So, Jason, it's going to be a tough road ahead for the brown and gold.
And that's where we're going to be heading to right now, as the Profs and the Seagulls taking on each other. These two teams squared off last year, with the Seagulls getting the 16-7 win for Salisbury. 364 days later, though, could the Profs change that outcome? Game 1 of the season was also the home opener for the Profs. In the first half, Profs already down 2-0. The freshman Mary Hanshe gets it past Riley Shop, and suddenly the Seagulls take a 3-zip lead. Then Ashley Lechlitter would score for the Profs and cut the deficit 3-1. A minute later, Cameron Pepper, who had a hat trick in this game for Salisbury, would score the next goal, and the Seagulls were back up by 3. Now down 6-1, Juliana Corson, who would later have a hat trick in that game, got the Profs back on the score sheet, but they would trail 9-2 at halftime. Corson would get her second goal of the game to start off the second half, but Julie Talbert for the Seagulls responded right back by scoring 2 goals in a row. Profs down 12-3 as Alyssa Bogert scored for the Seagulls. The Profs would score a few more times, including Julia Gerlicka, who fakes out Caitlin Hussinger and puts it in for Rowan. But history would repeat itself, and the Profs would go on to lose by the same score in their last matchup against the Seagulls, 16-7. It was a tough loss, Gary, because Rowan dropped their opening game, and their next game against Cabrini got canceled, but they will face Washington College next in Chestertown, Maryland.
And following the season opener, our very own Devin Byard spoke with senior midfielder and captain Julie Gerlicka about the start of the year and what she hopes to see on the field this upcoming season.
Thanks, Gary. I'm fortunate to have talked with one of the captains of our women's lacrosse team, Julia Gerlicka, who breaks down what it's been like preparing for this season, last week's game, and what's been motivating her going into her last season as a college athlete.
Being back is so exciting. We didn't really know what was going to come out of this year. 2020, we got 5 games and then we got shut down. Everybody got sent home. And then there was a lot going into the fall, riding on everyone being healthy and stuff like that. And everything was still up in the air, up until a week before we all got back on campus back in January. So being back is just the best feeling ever, because we didn't really even know if we were going to get this opportunity. So being able to get it is super exciting, and there's really nothing more we could have asked for than to just get what we can get. We didn't really know what we were even preparing for, to be honest. Everyone being at home and away from each other all last spring and the summer, and then a majority of the fall was tough because we had to do all the little things on our own and we couldn't do it as a team like we usually do. So we kind of had to adjust and just make sure we were all in shape and, getting our hands on our sticks and just making sure we were prepared in whatever way we could going into the fall. And then in the spring, not knowing what we were going to get, we just kind of had to wing it and just prepare, control the controllables, and then kind of see what we were going to be given and then go from there.
Gerlicka saw action in all 5 games in 2020 before the season ended, and was very strong for the Brown and Gold, netting 3 goals and 4 assists on the season. So it'll be interesting to see what she does in 2021.
And that'll do it here for this episode of Profs Huddle. I'm Jason Joseph.
I'm Garrett Lee. We'll see you next time when we get back in the huddle.